Good morning, everyone. Mike McConville here one more time for StringTechWorkstations. Winter has returned with a vengeance. As you can see, we've got two 335's in today. I wanted to start by just showing all the latest TechDeck owners how I strap this type of body down. So the longer strap that comes with the workstations, I go across the lower bout, and that basically serves as a hoop that catches this lower bout. With the medium length strap, I go up and over the horn under the neck, and that keeps everything free for access to the frets as we're doing fretwork. This guitar really needs that proverbial fret dress at the neck junction in order to sort of drop that action down, buzz free, get it to maximum playability. And Richard's 335, same deal. This is the GPS unit. And once again, we've got that larger strap across the lower bout, forming a hoop that catches the bottom end of the body, up and over the cutaway, under the neck, and again, that leaves us complete access. Now this 335 needs a complete refret. And let me bring you in close and we'll compare apples to apples, that neck to this neck. So in the case of this 335, all of the trouble areas right here where the tenon is received into the mortise at that neck junction. It's not that this portion swells up, it doesn't. Everything else around it moves. Of course, the neck is carved away in the back, and you get that flexibility. Once this is addressed at the neck junction, and by the way, I do this routinely on the XLT, so the body's fully supported, held in place. It's not going to shift or wobble or be crushed by excessive force. And that allows us to take care of this upper portion, and that will allow us to kind of hone right in and get the action where we want it. Now with Richard's 335, it's a whole different story. What's happening, and I think the camera's picking this up, from here to here you got the neck kind of humping up, and then you've got that huge amount of relief, and then it kind of swings up at the bottom end. There is not enough adjustment in this truss rod. For years he's gone to shop after shop after shop, and their only solution is to raise up the action until it stops buzzing. So unfortunately this guitar has sat in its case unplayed for years. We're going to take care of that. We'll be removing all the frets, correcting the fingerboard, all new frets, and he will have complete control over the lay of the neck, the action, and the playability. So first thing is to get this pickguard off and set it aside until the very end when we're completely done the job. So we'll drop that neck pickup out of the way, and that'll allow us to mask it off and get it ready for the work. Same deal here for Brendan's guitar. We'll get that pickguard out of the way first and tuck it away in the case until we get right on the home stretch. Yeah, the neck set looks good on this one as well, so we'll be able to drop that neck pickup down out of the way. Beautiful. Strip off the strings and hardware. That looks like the Tone Pro bridge, so this is good because this is rock solid. I always like that design. It's a very good idea. Richard's guitar, same deal. And the stock bridge. A little bit of play in there, but we're going to take care of that. In the meantime, we'll put all this hardware away in their designated cases so I don't have to think about it. No mix-ups. So these are the fret guards that I send out in your fretting kits. So first I make an impression of the end of the fingerboard. I'll cut that out first. Trace those cutaways. Cover that rear pickup as well. That's Brendan's guitar ready for action. There's many times where, with the Les Pauls especially, that you need to remove that neck pickup, but the neck set on both of these 335's allows us to just drop the pickup down out of the way, and we'll be able to work unobstructed without having to temporarily remove the neck pickup. So on both of these 335's, the neck set is allowing us to get away with that. And that's a bit of a time saver. All right, both guitars are ready to go. There's our 4 minutes. Oh, that's nice. So of course this is a super glued, not a whole different story. Still 4 minutes though. Okay, that's our second bout, 4 minutes. Let's see how we do. Oh, look at that. Hallelujah. That's as clean as it gets. We'll tweak that down to the last final fit. So here is the press fit that we got on Richard's guitar. So what's happening here is we're restoring the structural integrity of the headstock. That nut blank cannot be loose or tight. It has to be a perfect press fit. No wiggling, no wobbling. That one is 100%. Same deal with Brendan's guitar. No apparent looseness or tightness. Press fits into place. This is where the rubber hits the road, doing that radius on the underside of the shelf. Watch how fast this goes. So we've got that radius. Now we'll cut that leg down until the overhang rests on the fingerboard. So I made that little concave storyboard. I'm going to use that for tracing to make a convex storyboard. So that's what we got. This I'm going to hit on the disc sander. So there's just a hint of that pencil line. That's what we want to see. So I've traced that onto the shelf, and now we're back to our drill press radius disc sander. Here we go. Back to the guitar. So there's the fit on Richard's compensated nut, and here's Brandon's. So now we'll radius the crown of both of those nuts. Well, between snow blowing both driveways, shoveling the front and the back walk, and dropping off the snow tires to the dealership, I'm just about done for the day. But I am going to get the frets out of Richard's guitar so it'll be ready for that fingerboard correction first thing in the morning. We're going to set both of those compensated nut blanks aside and pick up again in the morning. Cheers. Gibson has been the envy of the guitar industry for years for these little plastic nibs that cover the ends of the frets. In most cases when you're doing fretwork, with Brendan's guitar it's no issue. We've got plenty of real estate on those upper frets to bring them down without disturbing those plastic nibs that seal the ends of the frets. It really is quite elegant. But there's times when those nibs gotta go. Let me bring you over to this other neck. So this is Richard's 335, and you can see the little nibs that are kind of sticking up. Well, we need to correct this fingerboard. There's no way of salvaging those. We've got to correct the problem areas first, and to do that, I start with a short scrub block. I've refreshed these two long blocks with 80 grit and 120 grit. So we're going to gently brush those nibs off first. These are the blocks that I send out in your kits, and this is one of the 6 straight edges I include in those kits as well. We'll start by gently brushing off those nibs and bring them down flush. So I'm following up with a 120 grit. It's imperative that we level those right flush because they will disrupt the seating of the replacement frets if you don't. So just to give you an idea of how much tension there is on that truss rod, I'm loosening it right off first. That's completely loose. There, I've just made contact. We're going to give it about a third, just a little bit of a rotation. So we want tension on that truss rod, and this was the source of confusion in my level 2 classes. So I'm going to explain it again. If you have a little bit of tension on that truss rod, we're about to true that neck up dead straight along the trajectory, the string path, respecting the radius. When you have that tension, even without any string tension on at all, when you back it off, you get a little bit of relief. So what that means in the long run is any string, any tuning, you will always have control of this neck. So the first thing we got to do is take care of this hump here. That is the reason that this guitar was just passed from shop to shop to shop. First reason, nobody wanted to mess with the famous Gibson nibs. They don't do you any good at all if they prevent you from getting the lay of the neck perfect. And that's what we're about to do. So because this was so extreme, we need to kind of check as we go to make sure that we've got enough depth in that slot to receive the tang of the new frets. This is a Japanese saw that I got at the local surplus store, and it cuts on the pull stroke. The depth of those teeth will just clear enough room for the depth of the tang. So as long as I see those teeth go flush with the fingerboard, or even a little deeper than that, we're going to be good. So I go up tight to the binding and I cut on the pull stroke. So I have to do one side at a time. I'll come around the other side to do the other side of the fingerboard. I'm just pulling to the center. You want to check after you've sanded to make sure that you still got enough depth for the new frets. After a half a century of doing fingerboard leveling, boy, this one takes the cake. That's our radius. Yeah, that's pretty well right on the money. So see that third position marker? It's starting to bleed through. That's how much we had to take off at the top end. See that last position marker? Same deal. There's no way that you were going to do this with one beam along its length. Not a chance. And you remember how warped that neck was? Okay, have a look at this. That's what we got now. The big major hump between the 2nd and 4th fret is completely gone. After doing this work for half a century, I don't know if I've ever had to do that much fingerboard correction. Okay, well, we've arrived. Now we're ready to put frets in. But one more thing I want to mention. So for any of you that have been following my channel and saw that 1951 Epiphone fingerboard where the guy had rounded off the edges, it just about killed me. This is actually sharp to the touch. And that was the point I was making in that other video. When I feel that, it's actually sharp. So when the crown comes over, the underside of the crown is going to sit flush against the binding and the fingerboard on that outside edge. We can soften it once the frets are in, but not before. Okay, let's get on with the fret job. I've got my 2 pilot frets in, the 3rd and the 20th, and I do this routinely when I'm doing a refret. Just a triple check, make sure that we've got lots of adjustment at the bridge. I took so much off this fingerboard to correct it, I was worried about that, but yeah, we're good to go. Okay, the frets are going in. Mission accomplished. Let me bring you in for a really close look. See those last 2 position markers bleeding through? It gives you an idea of how much I had to take off this fingerboard to correct it. Let's zoom in here in this compensated nut blank. This gives you a good idea how much I had to take off the top of the fingerboard. Remember, that ledge was resting on the fingerboard earlier on in the video. I had to take a good 3/32 of an inch off this end of the fingerboard to level it out. So this is our completed fret job. So here's a close-up look at the detail on the treble side of the fingerboard. In the morning I'll finish up that compensated nut, throw some strings on this thing, and Richard will be able to play this flawlessly for the first time since he bought it all those years ago. The twin 335's are both done. So this is 10 to 46 at concert pitch. I just bring you in to show you that compensated nut. 10 to 46 concert pitch. Brendan's guitar is 9 to 46 hybrid string. And that's what we ended up with on this one, 9 to 46 concert pitch. So these 2 ES335's are done. Now I've recorded a thing in B minor on Brendan's. So I'm going to let that play, and I'm going to blow over and flick the pickups around on this one first. I've got everything wide open. And then I'll plug in Richard's 335 and you guys make the comparison. So here goes. I got that same progression loop there. I'm just going to let that play this. So this is Richard's guitar, the one we just corrected the fingerboard on and did a complete refret. So we'll let this play and I'll blow over top and you make the comparison. Now these are 10 to 46 as opposed to 9 to 46, so you'll hear the first string is definitely thicker sounding on this guitar. And I'm not saying it's an absolute right or wrong. I mean, it's really a personal choice. The 9 definitely bends easier, no question about it. But you'll hear that the first 3 strings, the 10 to 46, sound, I don't know, to my ear, they sound a little bit thicker. So here we go. So here's all the cowboy chords.